All right, our goal for today is I can solve problems using the relationship between the angles formed by intersecting lines. Make sure you have your note sheet out in front of you and read through the definitions of complementary angles, supplementary angles, and adjacent angles. All right, here's what I want you to do. Look at this image in front of you that I'm tracing with my blue arrow. What can you tell me about that image? I would say that it looks like a straight line. I see this arc right here, so then it makes me think of angles, and a straight angle measures 180 degrees. What about this image over here? What can you tell me about this image? I see that square corner, so instantly I think 90 degrees, that this angle measured 90 degrees. This ray is perpendicular to this ray. So with that information in mind, what if I gave you these problems? Let's look first at this problem right here. Could you figure out without using a protractor the measure of angle x? Well, absolutely. This right here is a straight angle. All I'm doing is cutting that straight angle with a ray, right? So there's a point of intersection right here. I know that these two angles have to add up to 180 degrees. Therefore, they are supplementary angles. So I can go 180 degrees minus 118 degrees, and that will give me the missing degrees for x. So if I subtract these, I'm left with 62 degrees. So recognizing that these two angles right here form this straight angle, that makes them supplementary. So using that knowledge, I'm able, without using a protractor, to find the missing angle measure for x. Let's go to the next example here that I have. So if you're given the information in front of you, can you find the measure of angle n? Well, recognizing that you see that perfect square corner, this big angle right here has to have a total of 90 degrees. That makes it up. So therefore, these two smaller angles have to add up to 90 degrees. That means angle n and the 60-degree angle are complementary angles. So I can use my knowledge of that and go, well, complementary angles have to add up to 90 degrees. 90 degrees minus my given angle, which is 60 degrees. That will give me my missing angle, which would be 30 degrees. So angle n would be 30 degrees. And I was able to figure that out because I knew the definition of complementary angles. That's what we're doing today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, another question for you. Would the two angles that you see in front of you be supplementary? Well, first of all, let's make sense of what this M means. I know that that's my angle symbol, and it's saying angle 8 equals 120 degrees. But what does that M mean? That's telling you the measure of angle 8, and we measure angles in degrees, is 120 degrees. Over here we have the measure of angle 9 is 60 degrees. Well, if these two angles are supplementary, that means that when you add them together, you should get a total of 180 degrees. 120 degrees plus 60 degrees, when I add those together, I definitely get 180 degrees. So yes, they are supplementary. But do you notice this time that these two angles aren't touching? Miss Cleaver, what do you mean by that? Well, in my last example, my supplementary angles looked like this. There was one angle, there was the other, right? They shared this side. They were adjacent. These two supplementary angles don't share a side. They're non-adjacent, but yes, they still can be supplementary. So what I'm trying to get at is supplementary angles don't have to touch. They don't have to share a side. They can have nothing in between them. And still, if two angles add up to 180 degrees, we can call them supplementary. Final question for today, would these two angles be complementary? Angle AOB, is it complementary to angle POQ? Well, if they're complementary, when I add their degrees together, the sum should be 90 degrees. So 60 degrees plus 30 degrees, that definitely equals 90 degrees. So therefore, they are complementary angles. Now, if you remember from my first example, I gave you a picture like this. right? And we'll say this, I can't remember, we'll say it was 47 degrees, right? And we found that they were complementary, but again, they were touching, they were sharing this side. And then these two angles, notice that they don't have anything that they share between them, but yet they're still complementary angles. It's just this set of complementary angles are adjacent, and this set of complementary angles are non-adjacent because there's nothing in between them. They're not sharing a side.